Welcome back to TechniqueWOD. Today we're talking about building anterior core strength using some of my favorite variations of hanging leg raises. Okay, most people who train at a functional fitness gym, CrossFit gym, etc., you do a lot of knees to elbows, kipping toes to bars, things like that, maybe some L-sits. There's not as many people doing strict toes to bar, although of course that certainly happens. I think it should happen a whole lot more though. For me, I used to do a lot of that stuff, especially back when we used to compete in weightlifting. Back when I did gymnastics when I was younger, I did a lot of strict toes to bar. Everything was strict. These days, after having shoulder surgery and I can't really do a lot of overhead things without really aggravating my shoulder, I don't do a lot of strict hanging on the bar, hanging toes to bar, things like that. What I tend to do instead, especially with my left shoulder, is do things like this, where I'm grabbing a rope. This arm isn't all the way overhead, even if my other arm mostly is. And then I'll do strict hanging leg raises to the bar like this, to the rope rather. Or of course I can do it on a bar or just anything where I'm not all the way overhead. On a bar, it looks a little different because I can pull myself all the way to the top. So I'll be here, I stay in a hollow position, and then I raise from there. So that's the full movement. Of course, there's many different ways to modify and or scale that. As far as like where you can go with this movement, it's a prerequisite to things like pullovers. So if you're interested in doing fun low-level gymnastics tricks like pullovers, you can be here, pull yourself up, go right back down, do it again. So it's essentially just, it's advanced hollow body training. You get your ribs down, crunching with a fixed pelvis, posteriorly tilted, then you're raising your legs, getting hip flexion with a stable, neutral torso, we'll say. Variations I like, if I start here, I can be here hanging, or just like I did on the pull-up bar, I can pull myself all the way up and again do the same thing. If you lean back just a little bit, so I kind of lean back just a little bit. I wouldn't say that's like technically perfect. I tend to do it just a little bit, but you can do it and it's not the end of the world. You still get a lot of the same benefits. If that's way too hard, then of course you can scale it. You can scale it by bending your knees. So I can be here and just raise my knees. I can do, facing again, I can bend both knees. I can just bend one knee. So I can be here and just raise like this. That's a little more awkward than 2 legs at a time, but totally doable. You can do a straddle as well. I actually kind of like the straddle position because you can almost get all the way over inverted, which is kind of fun. The benefits aren't really that much better, but you can do it. So I'll be here, straddle. You see I kind of gotta extend my arms just a little bit to get all the way over like that. Again, you can do it. You don't really have to do it. Something fun to do. For people that when you do hanging leg raises, a lot of people won't actually get any trunk flexion. They're not letting their abs pull their pelvis up toward their rib cage, and usually that looks like this. Look at me from the side over here. Yeah, I'll do it on these. A lot of times that'll look like this, where they're like that. So you can see my back. If you look at my back is straight. I'm trying to bring my knees up. They end up going like this. Go back to the rope so you can get a good angle. So a lot of people will go like this, where their torso won't change at all, and they'll just go like this. So yeah, so they're just getting hip flexion, but no actual like crunching movement with their torso. just like if I was standing here normal and I was just picking my knee up, my knee is only going to go so high. I can't get my knee all the way up in front of my face if I don't bend here, right? So they typically only get hip flexion because that's all they're strong enough to get. If you're not strong enough with your abdominals, your rectus abdominis, your external obliques, etc., to actually posterior tilt your pelvis, keep your ribs down, and then bring your entire lower half up towards your upper half, then doing hanging leg raises or hanging knee raises probably is the best movement. You can scale it by doing more easier variations, doing hollow body holds, and things like that back on the ground. Or one thing I like to do, which is why I had these rings set up, is to start all the way down like this, and then just try to pull your knees all the way up to the rings. I like that as a variation, because a lot of times when people's legs go all the way vertical underneath them, they have a very hard time, unless they're getting a big swing, they have a very hard time getting back into that perfect hollow position. When your legs go out in front of you, you kind of have to hold that hollow position the whole time and then bring your knees back up. Okay. As far as sets and reps and all that, this is a movement where, depending on how difficult you're either scaling or not scaling it, that'll determine your rep range, but I really don't pick these as I do 10 sets of 3 or 5 sets of 10 or whatever. I like to do them in a Metcon, kind of treat these just like I would push-ups or pull-ups or anything else, where you can do any rep range you really feel like you can accomplish, more or less. So programming isn't really complicated, so no quick tips on that. If you want to do a very scaled down version of this, you can just do a reverse crunch, lay down, put something right above your head. It could be something solid like this that's anchored to the ground. That'll make it easier. Or you can do something lighter like a med ball. You're just holding like a 10-pound ball overhead. That'll make it a little harder. What you're going to do, hold on to this, make sure you're in a perfect hollow position, and then you're going to bring your knees all the way up in front of your face with your heels down close to your butt. You're not going to kick up like this where you're just floating. Keep your heels here, ribs down, reach out in front of you, knees up, heels to butt, and then bring your knees right in front of your face. So that's a super scaled down version of it. If you're a person that can't quite do the full movement on the bar, I think that's a great place to start. Cool. So those are fun variations of hanging leg raises. I don't even know if I've ever done a normal hanging leg raise TechniqueWOD, but if you want to learn about that, probably Google it. You can follow me on Instagram at Douglas E. Larson. Also, you can follow the Shrugged Collective at the Shrugged Collective on Instagram and everything else online. Follow us on YouTube as well. We post shows every single day on iTunes for the podcast. We post videos throughout the week on YouTube. This one's every Sunday, and then we post a variety of other videos throughout the week, but posting shows every single day. We also have the Vault, where we have all of our online training programs. It's $47 a month, and you get access to 11 programs. I'm about to put a 12th program in there right now, and that's going very, very well. So if you're looking for some online programming, go to shruggedcollective.com/vault. I'll see you another day.
Shrugged listeners, welcome to the Shrugged Collective Program Vault. Over the last 6 years, we've been leading the charge in online strength and conditioning programming and coaching. And for the first time in the history of the Shrugged Collective, we're combining our 11 best-selling long-term and short-term accessory programs into one membership site called the Program Vault. From Olympic weightlifting to strongman, leaning out, nutrition, you name it, our 11 best-selling programs are yours for $47 a month. Get to shruggedcollective.com/vault, and you will find immediate access to our 11 best-selling strength and conditioning programs.